Hello everyone, my name is Alyssa and I am on here to share this new series that I'm starting called In My Journal. In My Journal is literally what I put in my journal of my faith journey with Jesus and my testimonies. And I want to come on here, share them with you, hoping that they will encourage you and stir your faith up. And I hope you enjoy. So relax, get a coffee, grab water, grab a tea, whatever you like. Listen in, and I hope this blessed you. So today I'm talking about God's plan versus my plan. So back in 2015, I gave my life to Christ in my room. I was crying out to God. I shared this testimony actually on this channel. I posted it about 2 years ago. It should be still on there. But pretty much I speak about everything that happened of where I was, where my mindset was, and me surrendering my life to Jesus. And in my room, I vowed that I wanted to wait till marriage before I give myself to anybody, right? And the fact that I said I wanted to wait also meant that I made this idea in my head that, well, if I'm gonna wait,
I don't want to date anyone. Then I made this plan that after 2 years, I will start dating again. I will make it very clear that I'm waiting till marriage. And then by 2 years, I will date them for about another 2 years. So by the time I'm 30, then we can speak about engagement. And then we'll get married. And then even when we get married, then we're just not going to have kids right away. Then we'll have kids before I'm 35.
I literally made this plan while vowing to God that I was gonna give my life to Him, which is funny because I was still kind of like building this whole story. Now, is it wrong to make plans? Absolutely not. Of course you want to make plans, right? But the verse I read in Proverbs 5 verse 6 to 7, in trusting in the Lord and not leaning into your own understanding, I was yet to understand and learn how to seek God's will for my life and understanding what His will was for my life. So with this plan in my mind, I decided to share with two close people of mine. And as I was sharing with them, I told them, guys, I am not going to date anyone for 2 years, kind of like an accountability, like this is what I'm going to do. And when I start dating, I'm not going to sleep with anyone until I get married. And they looked at me like,
girl, you have lost your mind. Girl, you want to wait till marriage? How do you expect to find someone who's going to remain faithful while you're dating them? And how do you expect to find someone who is even willing to wait till marriage?
I was so convinced that no, this is what I have to do. This is what I want to do. Now, backstory, while I'm sharing this at the restaurant that I was in, my husband actually happened to walk in. But you know, to someone and you kind of glancing around, he caught my eye. And mind you, I've worked with my husband for 9 months and we've never spoke. But for some reason this day he came into work and he was wearing regular clothes, and he caught my attention. He wasn't wearing work clothes. He was wearing his regular clothes, and I thought, wow, this guy dresses really nice, and continued my conversation. Just a small backstory. So fast forward a month later, I get introduced to my now husband. Like I said, I saw him. We worked together. The reason why we didn't talk or really know each other for 9 months was because of the different schedules. He worked nights, I worked days. He went to school, I worked in another job, and I had a business. So like we never really crossed paths. After a month later, after I gave my life to Christ, we then were introduced. We spoke, we built a friendship, and from then we realized we had a lot in common, and we just built a friendship from there. Fast forward 2 months in, he wanted to grab a coffee, even though he didn't drink coffee or tea. Funny. So he invited me to a coffee place, and we went, and he was telling me that weekend he was going to a conference, and it was a Holy Ghost conference from Pastor E. Adeboye from RCCG. And he was telling me all about it, and it sounded amazing. He's like, worship all night. And I never heard of a conference like this before. And I invited myself. I said, I need to go. And it was amazing because in that conference, I gave my life to Christ. I felt like I had butterflies in my stomach. And at first I didn't want to go up, but I felt like this has to happen. And And it did. And I went up. And when I tell you this place was packed, there was like thousands of people, and I gave my life to Christ that day. And from me having this friendship with this guy, we then went into a courtship, right? After saying I wasn't going to date for 2 years, after having this whole plan, I just knew that this was the person from our conversations and how we, how we were spending time together, building that friendship. He then told me he wanted to court me with one condition. He then said, I want to be open with you. I don't want to have sex before marriage. And I thought, wow. Very straightforward, very honest. He was very clear that I want to court you. I want to court you for marriage. I never thought I would meet someone that was willing to wait till marriage. And I'm sharing this, because it just shows God's grace. Like, I know the pressure today in society today makes it seem like no one is there, like especially where the environment where I was exposed to. I never thought that I would wait till someone that was willing to wait and really wanted to honor God, because he was in his walk and journey with God and I was in mine, right? But we were learning from each other, and I was learning a lot from him. His walk with God was, so open, so transparent, and he was willing to, share with me his story. And it really made me respect him as a person. It made me want to know God more. It challenged me to want to seek him more and seek his word more. And if you've listened to my story, my testimony story, when I surrendered my life to God, I asked God, send people that will draw me closer to you. Send people that are going to let me know more of you and let me know of you. And he sent one person. He sent one person. I was hoping he was going to send a whole community to me, but he sent one person, and he sent my husband. And not only did he send my husband, through him, I met some of the most amazing people that I would consider family right now. Through him, it's the connections that God has opened. And it wasn't until later on, right? Because I was still in my own personal walk. And even though the other way sounded so realistic to me, sounds like made so much sense, but in hindsight, I could have seen how that would have just not worked out for me. But I will say this, God is faithful. If you find yourself and you say, listen, I have been with this person, we have been together for 5 years, 7 years, 2 years, whatever it may be, I invested my time with this person. It could even be 1 year. You invested time with this person and you're saying, I'm already getting up there in age. I can't just go and start dating someone else again. Dating life is hard. I can't just go and give up. Like, am I being too picky? I would say go and seek God's face. If this person is for you, he will make a way. And if you're saying, God, I want to honor you in my relationship, I don't want to do it this way anymore. I've done it this way. I know it's not the right way. I know I'm not honoring you in this relationship. I know I'm supposed to be doing it one way and I'm doing it my own way because, I want to keep this person and because they're special, whether you're a male or female. I know how it is. I know some males, they stay with some woman and they're feeling pressure from the woman to do these things and they feel obligated to. Listen, I'm speaking to either or. God is a God of grace and mercy, and he will make a way where there seems to be no way. I say that by experience. God is a redeemer and he turns things all around. I'm sharing this because doing it God's way brought stability into my life, where I didn't even know I needed stability. It brought structure into my life and it brought that hunger to know God's word. Now, it didn't overnight. It took a while. It took a couple of months to make up my mind, to be honest. It took really ask myself, do I really want to leave my old life? Because to me, there was nothing wrong with it. I realized that where it was leading me into was just further away from God and further away from the plan and will he had for me, right? So I really hope that this testimony and this story time blessed you in some sort of way. And if you do find yourself that you're in this position where you were just saying, God, I want to know if I'm in your will, and I do want to do what's in your will. Like I read in Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 7, when you trust in the Lord with all your heart, it says, do not depend on your own understanding. To seek his will in all that you do. Seek his will in all that you do. And everything from marrying my husband to having our children to where we're gonna live. Like we literally sought God's face and say, God, what is your will? And he will show you the path to take. He will show you the path to take. But if you haven't yet, and if you like, you could see the testimony that I did 2 years ago. It's a full testimony of where I was coming from. And I'm going to share like a shorter version of how my life really, where I ended up saying, okay, I'm completely sold out. Like I said, it took a couple months to really, okay, do I want to do this? I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, am I really going to do this God's way? So I'm not saying it just like clicked like a light and then like all of a sudden I'm just walking, and that could be some people's story, but definitely was not my story. But God was merciful and gracious and patient with me, and he'll meet you where you are. He'll meet you where you are. He will bring the right people. And I pray that over anyone who's listening to the sound of my voice, that God will meet you where you are. God sees your heart. If it's something where you're like, God, I know I'm not doing it the way you're asking me to, but I don't know any other way, just speak to him. Ask him, God, show me, and give me the heart and to obey you and to be obedient to you. And I pray he answers that prayer. Anyways, guys, this was my testimony / story time. I hope it blesses you, and I hope it encourages you. If you know someone else that this will bless, please share it with them. I'll be posting next week another video. I hope I will see you next week. Until then, have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye.